Okay. So on Monday, there was RMSG, right? This was last week, yeah. I'm talking about last week. Okay. Was it this one? No. This one. 10 days, right? Bad. So on Monday, we had RMSG, where a ticker. Now, we're not even talking about like big moves in market hours, right? We're talking about big moves throughout the entire day. So at pre-market, it had a 100% move, right? At pre-market, it had a 100% move. Considering the fact that they count the price from the closing price the previous day, right? It had a 114% move in pre-market. And then on market open, it moved from 92 cents to 3.95, which made another additional 325% move. Now, this happened on Monday. On Tuesday, there was Snarl that did a similar thing, right? When it opened up, it was up 102%. And then from open on to the highs, it was up another 183%. So it's not like it's up 183% for the day. It's up 300 plus percent for the day, and RMSG was up more than 500 plus percent on the day, right? Yeah, and then this was on Tuesday, right? So Monday we had that, Tuesday we had that. It was back to back. It was crazy. On Wednesday, right, we had Bird. This is where we started seeing a little bit. We started seeing a little bit of a shift in the theme, right? It wasn't just pennies anymore, but still, the price went all the way. It was up 172% before market open in pre-market, and then for market open, it went all the way up to 267%. So you see the pattern is there, right? Where last week, this was last week again. This I'm talking about last week, where every single play, runs up hard in pre-market, and then it continue running hard even after a market open, which is something that we usually don't see on a normal market, right? On a normal market, this type of move over here, very rare, right? We usually don't see it, right? We will still see this market come back for sure, right? Just a matter of when. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that last week the market was extremely hot. Okay, it was honestly insane. And don't forget, after this, what else do we have? Thursday, we had PBM, right? Where it didn't really make a pre-market move. Okay, but during the morning, it made a 246% move. And it continued to make high moves after. And then on the last day, right? This is a Thursday, right? And on Friday, EFOI came in, made a 159% move before market open, right? And then it continued to make another 94% move on open. Considering the fact that this is a Friday, right? I would say this is pretty decent. So I think we have established that last week's market was extremely hot. And for those of you guys who just recently started trading, last week's market was pretty much just like uh, looks like a teaser for you guys, right? It may be great for you guys to start over there, but I would say that the mindset that it would have distilled inside you guys wouldn't have been great because the market isn't always going to be like this. Okay, I have been saying that since last week. Whenever the market heats up, right, it always creates two groups of people, right? For people who are new to trading, yeah. For people who are new to trading, you come in when the market's hot, right? When the market starts to revert back to how it usually is, you will lose money. And then for the people who have been trading long enough, okay, you guys will know that this is just part of the cycle. After usually whenever the market heats up, the next thing that happens is the market slowing down. And essentially, this is what we kind of saw on uh on this week, right? No, I wouldn't say Monday because PBMs just kind of gapped up, but I think the market started to become very saturated with the SI plays because of car, and then you throw in the mix with a little bit of Chinese plays here and there, and that's where volume becomes super distributed. There was no clear theme, right? Everything was all over the place this week. I think, right? I think you guys can feel that as well, right? If you started trading last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm sure you guys can feel that, right? So whenever the market heats up, I always come in and tell you guys this. Okay, I'm happy that you guys make money when the market heats up, but don't take it for granted. Don't be overconfident because when the market slows down, okay, and you don't adapt your mindset or you don't adapt your methodology to the market slowing down, all the money you made when the market's hot, you are going to give it all back because 20% don't excite you anymore because of what happened last week. Yeah. So it's never about how much you make, right? It's rather how much you can keep, because day trading is a long-term type of thing. It's a daily type of thing, right? Even if you were to make like 20,000 today, but if you were to lose like 30,000 in the next 4 weeks, then it doesn't matter that you made 20,000 in one day, because the reality of the situation is that you have given everything back. Yeah. So identifying the market slowing down, being able to adapt to it is very important. Now, if you tell me that the market was slow, you couldn't adapt to it on Tuesday, I'll take it, because I wouldn't be able to adapt to, right? Monday, the market was still a little bit hot. And then Tuesday onwards is where things start to kind of slow down a little bit. But the thing is, after we realized that, just 765 breakout to be huge if we get that. But after we realized that the market was slowing down on Tuesday, right? That was where I've been telling you guys since yesterday as well. Okay, the market seems like it's about to slow down. Okay, please adjust your mindset, your mentality today. And again, this morning, even before market open, I wrote you guys a super long paragraph, a passage, a super long paragraph telling you guys, okay, you know what? I think the market's slowing down. If you guys didn't adapt to it yesterday, then there is no excuse to not adapt to it after seeing yesterday's price action, right? And you can see again, yeah, it's going to be slow, right? That's why I didn't really trade the entirety of pre-market, because it was slow, and I'm pretty sure you guys can see it as well. So adapting to it is very important. Okay, if you made money in the hot market because things are just hot, right? You buy, you don't have stops, and it recovers because the market's hot. You think this is fine. Then and when you come to a market where it's slow, you're gonna be punished heavy, which you don't have to hear it from me, right? But I've been saying this since day one. Whenever the market heats up, because I want you guys to understand and be very careful. Okay, I think it's good that you guys are making money, but there's absolutely no reason to give everything back when the market slows down. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Okay, I've been saying this. I've always been saying this because I know for sure people are going to give everything back after a hot market. That's always someone. There's always going to be someone like that. Okay, I'm trying to see whether I can reach out or help out as many as I can. To especially if you're new to trading, because I've been through multiple cycles where the market is hot and then it slows down, and it's hot, it slows down. I've seen all sorts of different situations before, to the point where whenever the market heats up, I'm always very cautious after, because I know for sure the next thing is going to happen is it's slowing down. All right, I may not be able to adapt in time, because when the market heats up, my mindset, for every single trade, it's going to be, okay, let me just take it bigger, let me just take it bigger. But on the day itself, when the shift starts to show, when the cracks start to show, right, that's where I have to adapt on the day itself into the next 2 days. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, adapting doesn't mean that you don't take trades. All right, always remember that the market is slow until it's not. All right, usually people won't know that the market is heating up until the move is actually done. Let's take Acorn, for example, right? If I were to tell you guys right now, right, if you judge this move over here for Acorn, do you think the market's hot? Most of you guys will say yes, because you guys have seen Acorn make this move from $3 to $7.95, right? And you guys will be like, oh my God, is the market heating up right now? Is the market heating up right now? I hope the market heats up because of this. But it's because you guys have already seen the move. When I gave you guys this alert just now on the $5 breakout, right? I don't know. Remember, when I took this $5 break, okay, I was trading the same market with you guys today. And I know today's market was definitely slow, for sure, right? I know today's market was definitely slow, right? We had breakouts that didn't really pull through too much. The only ticker that was really good to us was ELPW. Everything was kind of chopped here and there. AGPU, we had a couple of nice scalps in pre-market. And then market open, we had one loss, and then after that, there was a couple of bounce here and there, but there was really not much follow through after. And then there was the SI plays that was coming in, FFAI that just kind of dumped after it dumped, and then it recovered to 58 cents. I wanted 60 cents over that, but just dumped all the way down. So there was no consistency on anything, right? And it was definitely slow compared to the past few weeks. I'm sure you guys can feel that as well, right? But when I see a setup, I always take it. No matter what, I always take it, because the market is slow until it's not. You will not know that the market's heating up until you see the move actually happen. But by then, it's already too late for you guys to get back in. Or rather, the risk is a lot higher for you guys to get back in. Which is the reason why I told you guys this I tell you guys this many times, right? When the market is slow, we should still execute. Because you never know when the market will just flip the switch, right? And things will start running. And when that happens, we'll always be at the bottom of the move, because whether the market is hot or slow, we are always executing the same way. And then the rest is up to the market, right? If you only come in when the market's hot, you would have missed this entire move over here. And maybe we could continue to go higher, right? Then that's fine. But of course, in terms of risk reward and understanding that the move has already been done and liquidity concepts, right? It's a higher chance of the price dropping that down from here, at least on the first move. So that's why no matter what, whether you can't say stuff like, "Well, market is slow, I don't want to trade right now." Nah. Okay, we will never know when the market is going to just flip the switch. Like this. This is a prime example. If I didn't want to take this trade because I think the market is slow, we all would have missed this move over here. Right? This amazing move over here, we all would have missed this. Okay, and then after that, you guys will start making decisions like, oh, right, okay, now the market's here, let me start trading again. But sometimes these moves may just last like that and it just be done. So no matter what, consistency every single day is key. We just have to execute, and then we let the market do the work. Okay, there are many different things that you can put in place, like focusing on base hits, right? Sizing down smaller, just to kind of protect yourself when the market slows down. And then when the market starts heating up, that's where you can start to readjust your risk appetite to it. Okay, all right. So now, let's talk about some of the trades that we took for today. I'm not going to go through everything. I'm going to talk about some of the stuff where some of the trades that I took, I felt like it was very uncharacteristic of me, and I shouldn't have taken it. And honestly, I hate myself for it. And I'm going to talk about some of the stuff where we took it, it didn't work out, it is what it is. So the first one, okay, let's talk about Acorn first, right? Because this is the one that's happening right now. So Acorn, okay, why did I say that this has similar vibes to PBM on day one? If you guys remember for PBM's day one move, when I gave it to you guys last week, right? I told you guys that this is gonna be quick, you just want to add it, so on and so forth, because it's gonna run, or rather it's a high probability of a run. And last week I had more conviction last week because last week market was hot. Yeah, so it was a no-brainer to just slap it, right? Because again, last week market was hot, so we could have definitely got a very, very nice move according to the market conditions last week. Okay, so if you look at this over here, right, this is the PBM's setup. So it halted up on this, right? I told you guys to be adding this and stuff, and we went all the way to 982. Right, we went all the way to 982. But the setup is similar, you can see, right? Look at this. Because three things. Number one, daily average volume back then for this was very low. Today, this is 76,000, right? Very low. Both are low floaters, right? Both are low floaters. What do I mean by that? Okay, it means that Acorn this is a low float, okay? You just don't show, but this is a low float. PBM is also a low float. All right, 250,000. So they're all micro floaters. And the last thing is, PBM was running because Trump signed, or there was a rumors that Trump had the intention to sign some PTSD treatment drug, and PBM was involved in that. And that's the reason why PBM ran up. Guess what, guys? This one, Trump was going to sign, or rather reclassify the class for marijuana. So we had three things, right? Low float, low daily average volume, and a catalyst that's indirectly related to the stock. I would say this is very similar to PBM, right? This setup over here is very similar to PBM, right? That's the reason why I said that. And I wouldn't expect this to move like this. Okay, of course, when the market was slow like that the entire morning, I wouldn't have expected this to move like that. But, the potential was there. This is a similar setup, right? It had all the criteria for hitting. We still have to try. No matter whether the market is slow or not, we still have to try. Because it is a setup. Okay, market being slow or not should never stop us from trying. Because you never know, right? This play might just be the play that starts hitting the market out again, right? And you don't want to be missing out for sure. Yeah? Okay, so yeah, this was a very nice setup. 765 is what we need to kind of clear right now. If not, If you guys remember PBM after the first move, right, it kind of played a little bit of game, so on and so forth. So we can let it do its own thing. Hopefully, we see another after hours run. Obviously, we are in a different time and space right now, right? PBM did this when the market was hot. Overall, right? This is happening to Akin right now when the market is absolute shit. Okay, so, I mean, it's not absolutely shit, but it's not as hot as how it was last week. So we may not have the same results on the next few parts. But for the for the initial move, okay, when the move hasn't happened, when the volume's still fresh, it's similar. I've explained to you guys why already, so you guys kind of know. Okay, yeah. All right. So when this thing broke 5, it was an instant slap. You know, I was honestly, for me, I was already adding before the $5 broke out, before I got confirmation. I was really adding this over here before I got confirmation because it was a very strong breakout. It was a very strong volume breakout. So the last 5 seconds, I already started to accumulate my position over here, and then it opened up. Because remember when the candle, I added on this breakout candle, which usually we don't do. We usually add on the next candle, right? But I add over here because this is a very strong breakout, and the last 5 seconds didn't matter, right? The last 5 seconds, if the 5 seconds ends, this would have still closed above 5, which confirms the breakout. So I might as well just get in first. Okay, all right. Re-entries wise, I don't see anything right now. I think that the market is still not, I would say, not great. I want to show you guys something, yeah. So look at this, okay. GNLN went up. Okay, GNLN went up, halted up, okay, because it's weed as well. And then look at it. So this is an outlier, right? It's kind of like PBM and EMVB last week, remember? Right? PBM was strong and EMVB didn't really do much of anything. So this is an outlier, okay, but it doesn't mean that the market is immediately like hot right now. Yeah? So this thing may just drop all the way back down, but we'll see what happens. Okay. So that's the first trade. I mean, so that's a little bit more about Akin. Now there are some trades today that I regret taking. That I honestly, it was very uncharacteristic to me. One of them is going to be obviously the what was the ticker? Valo. Now I'm not sure why I took this trade over here. Yeah, I added this at 16.1 in the open, right? Honestly, I shouldn't have taken this. I feel like I was very much driven by the fact that there was nothing else that was moving. And I thought, the market was going to flow into this mid large caps because Poet and Velo was doing really well yesterday, right? So I wanted to see whether we can get sort of like a confirmation flow on this. And plus, don't forget, I think last month or so, I told you guys that Velo was a watch if we break $13. We stop loss on the 12, which happened yesterday. So I thought that this was a change of trend. But yeah, definitely shouldn't have taken this, right? The candlestick was very sparse, volume wasn't there. It wasn't really the type of trades that I usually take. So honestly not sure what the fuck I was doing on this, but very, very disappointed with myself for doing that. But cut and we move on. Poet, this is a long-term investment research that I was doing with Povens and we loaded this at the $5 and the $6. If you guys have been following the long-term investment channel, right? This was something that was, very, very nice for us. Let's see 1 second. Yeah, there we go. A month ago, right? So this is actually very nice. And it's up more than 100% so far. Now, because it is up more than 100% already, right? I was going to kind of because this is up recently a lot already, right? If I were to take a trade over here right now, I have to keep things tight. I can't have my stop loss under $9, so on and so forth. I mean, I can if I want to swing this, if I want to go long term on this, but I'm trying to treat this as a day trade. Also because the market conditions has been pretty shit, so I'm trying to de-risk a little bit, right? So if you look at this on the 20-minute chart right now, we do have a short-term trend on the 50 EMA after the big move yesterday, right? So we have one bounce over here and multiple bounces over here as well. So I'm just going to continue riding this, and also plus 1150 is my high lows level. Okay, so obviously because this ticker has already made a huge run, if I were to continue, right, riding this up, okay, I need for this, right? I need for this to just go up without pulling back anymore. So that's why I have to keep things super tight. All right, that's why I have to keep things very, very tight on this. Okay, I think obviously this is also going to be affected by the macro market conditions, right? So basically the price of SPY, right? If let's say there's a full-blown war that's going to happen right now, then this is probably not going to benefit too much out of it and it might drop as well. But I think so far things are looking pretty good. I think the market doesn't really buy or it doesn't really care about all these ceasefire not going through the stuff in Hormuz because things are it's been going on long enough that the market doesn't really factor in too much of a shock anymore, right? We call it saturation. Same thing for themes, right? Whenever a ticker starts running for too long of the same theme multiple times, the market don't like it as much anymore. It doesn't flow as well anymore, right? One of the greatest example is oil names. We over the weekends there was a lot of bullshit about the Strait of Hormuz being closed again, and SkyQ kind of gapped up on Monday, remember? Right? Only to do nothing for the rest of the day. See that? This is not nice price action, right? You can trade it quick, but it's not sustainable because it's saturated. This thing has been going on long enough. Right? The market, the market's not gonna flow it well anymore, right? But if you have fresh setups, and stuff like that, that's probably gonna flow a lot better. Okay, all right. And then the last trade, rather one trade I want to talk about is of course, what's the ticker? What was the Chinese ticker that we took in the morning that was rounding off? But WLDS, I think. Sorry, no, not WLDS. WeBuy, sorry, WeBuy. Yes, WeBuy. Right? So one of them was WeBuy. Okay. And now I'll explain to you guys why I took this into open. Okay. So what I wanted from WeBuy was the move that ELPW did. Right? Was the move that ELPW did. Okay. So I'm learning myself as I'm going through all this review because I kind of learn I kind of know what are some mistakes so that I know not to make them throughout the week. So this ELPW yesterday, it's random Chinese name runner. No news on this, just kind of pop, right? But it was super, super bullshit in pre-market, if you guys can see. It was absolutely ridiculously useless in pre-market. But at market open, it was one of the strongest runners that we have for today. But I think we didn't have a single loss on this. The first trade over here, we'll talk about that later, but we didn't have a single loss on this, right? But you guys can see on this concept and stuff, when a ticker doesn't do well in pre-market, does not mean it's not going to do well on market open, right? So we shouldn't count this out. But this is also Chinese, right? So this is what I wanted from WBuy. So WBuy had a similar gap up on pre-market, but then it pulled back and started consolidating very nicely on the VWAP, right? Plus also you can see that price kind of grabbed some bit of liquidity over here. Look. Right? And then it kind of curled back up. So this is something that's that had a very nice risk to reward in that sense. It wasn't particularly a strong setup yet because we couldn't break through VWAP, but in terms of risk to reward, in terms of how we've been seeing random Singapore names start gearing up every single day for this week, I would say this was worth a shot in terms of the risk to reward. Yeah, but we didn't have volume on open. I tried giving this a chance, I was trying to give this a chance and whatnot, trying to see whether we can get a ELPW type move, but you can see that never happened, right? It almost wanted, and then that was when I had there has to be a time where what this is we're getting way too long. Other names are flowing right now. This is not doing anything. It's best to just cut instead of just cut early instead of just running it out, which is what we did. Right, so the loss over here was very, very much mitigated because I cut this super early because there was absolutely no volume. I waited for this for a bit, by the way. I waited for this for a bit. All right, you can see on market open, I waited for at least for 11 minutes, but it was way too slow and I had to cut. So what could I have done better for this? Well, because the market is slow and we know that the market is slow since yesterday, not today, right? If the market starts slowing down today, then this was a mistake that I probably would have never been able to avoid. But because we knew that the market was slow yesterday, I probably should have just taken this trade when market opens up on volume confirmation. So if let's say I waited for that, right, I would have probably seen this. So you see ELPW on the 3rd minute gapped up, right? We didn't do anything over here. I probably would have focused on ELPW over W buy, and then we probably would have caught this move earlier. Now I think this is also a little bit late on 2.5s, but I did tell you guys to watch the 2.6 dips, and we got 3 troughs, so that was good. Secondary trade over here from 2.5s went on 2.50, and then we had 2.8s, which was great as well. So I think all in all, this was good. But there were others obviously that didn't work out. FFAI, I really wanted to see whether we can get a squeeze move over here because the market was still kind of flowing this out, trying to figure things out by itself. Today, we're not sure what this is running. You can see when the meme play started to die off, right? Like this one, when the meme play started to die off over here, then we started to see more traction coming into ELPW, right? And also the what was the output, right? See, output kind of died on open, and then it recovered. It started giving us multiple nice scalps off the $9 level, right? But then probably why this thing actually recovered like this was because maybe what's the ticker? Let's see. FFAI and the SI names started to give back. I think CAR is also not having a really good day right now. Yeah, there we go. Right, 847 to 550. So the SI plays are all pretty much dying. Yeah, the SI plays are all pretty much like getting rocked right now. Because the one thing you guys have to understand is that the whole reason why FFAI, BYND, and all these kind of setups over here are running is because of CAR. So this is your index, right? If this is going down, then it makes sense for the SI names to not go down. So when the SI names was out of the picture, we had a much better, much clearer structure to trade, right, with AGPW. But even still, this didn't really have the volume it needed. It couldn't break through VWAP, right? This white line over here was something that was super crucial for us throughout the entire day. It has been a very crucial price action separation factor for this. You can see right over here, right? Over here, you can see one back. So you see, look at this white line, yeah? 0 candle close on the when it was on the white line, it bounced up, Now, when it lost that white line over here, it became such a strong, obvious resistance, right? Look at this. So unless we actually clear this white line over here, I don't think this is going to do anything else today. Okay, and one thing you have to understand is that yes, the news reads good, 260 million GPU contract, but there is still a lot of underlying clause to it that does not make it seem as great. Okay, first off, the starters is a 260 million contract over 3 years. Not in a year, not today, but over 3 years. Okay, and then there are also other things like overhead costs, right? Risks involved, dilution, stuff like that may not that will kind of show you that the PR is not what it seems. But as day traders, we don't really have time to read the PR, right? When you see a small cap company like Akpu receive a 260 million contract and plus there's the name of Nvidia inside, that's where people just slap. There is no time to react. This is called news trading. I don't think you have time to chart levels as well, right? This is news trading because people are slapping on the headlines. And usually stuff like this, they are very good when there's a clear theme in the market. Because if, let's say, for example, day one, there was a 500% mover on maybe weight loss drug, right? And then on day two, if there's another company that drops a weight loss drug PR, you can just slap it. You can pretty much slap it, and then you would have just made money, right? You remember back then when Bert had the AI pivot play, right? When Bert had the AI pivot play, went insane, yeah. And then NYSE dropped similar news in after hours, and you can pretty much just slap it. You can pretty much slap it at 240, 260, whatever. But the market will push it up because that's what it was gearing on. So this part over here for shit, so man, there's so many tickers. My brain is about to get cooked right now. Oh my God. For AGPU, right? This wasn't a setup that you could take properly. I would say this is more of a news slap type setup because of the headlines, right? You have 260 million contract plus Nvidia name on it. And before this move actually happened, this ticker was worth 27 million market cap. So imagine the 27 million market cap ticker having a 260 million, which is about 10 times its market cap. If we don't scrutinize the details of the contract, just reading it based on the headlines, people are going to slap this. And that's why this thing has such an aggressive move to the upside, because this is also a low floater, right? Even though when the market's low, because this is more of a headliner type of trade. Okay, yeah. So that's that. I think there was a couple of nice trades on GP, right? Where we ran on the 125 breakout over here, and it popped to 150, right? But it kind of double topped on this entire thing, and price went down because again, the market was generally slow at during market hours. So it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. And then also one thing I want to say is that for those of you guys with cash account, I understand that you guys don't have the capital or funds to play after, right? Kind of like you guys would have missed this Acorn move because your funds and your cash, your capital would have been used up by before this move actually happened. Okay, but the thing is, you cannot tell me and stuff like, oh, I want to save my cash, I want to save my capital in case an Acorn type move happened, because look, we didn't even know that this was going to happen until it actually did, and the time it happened was at like what, 11:50, 12. And if you were to save your capital for a trade to take at 11:30 and 12, and if you waited to 11:30 and 12 and nothing happened, but something ran super hard in the morning that you could have taken, but you didn't want to take it, right, because of the fear, that would have been a huge waste. Okay, and there's not much you guys can do because you guys have cash account, your cash needs time to settle, right? There's really no sugarcoating this, but it's not ideal for you guys. But then again, it is a good thing that the PDT rule is going to be removed, so that it's gonna, I think that is a huge change for those of you guys with smaller accounts, right? That's where you guys will be able to have margin accounts and still have unlimited day trades to trade as many times as you want. Your cash don't need to settle, even though your account's at $2,000 minimum. I think the minimum has to be $2,000, which is a lot better than 25,000. And I think it's good as well because you will be able to kind of practice trading without risking too much. Yeah, right. So what else is there? Yeah, I think the government is putting a lot of efforts trying to make things easier for you guys to trade. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but back then, for cash accounts, if the cash settlement was T+2, so if you traded on Monday, if you used the cash on Monday, the cash would have been settled on Wednesday. So basically Tuesday you won't be able to trade, right? And then after they changed it to every single day it settles, right? If you use all your cash on today, it's gonna be ready again for you tomorrow, right? So yeah, there's a lot of step up efforts to kind of help with that. And then right now with the P2, I think that's a huge change. Hopefully we see more liquidity in the markets, right? More people buying and selling and whatnot. So yeah, I think I'm very, very excited to see this. I mean, this is a new thing, just like how the 24 hours trading is going to be introduced. These are all new to us, right? Even though I've been trading for a long time, but the PT rule is new, right? The overnight trading is new. So I think we might be able to see some exciting stuff, on the second half of the 2026. Okay. No, I think so ELPW, I'm just very cautious for this because this is at the end of the day still a Chinese name. I think we've done really great on this today, right? This move was what I expected on WBuy, but unfortunately never happened, so we have to play by ear. The reason why I took the first trade over here was because this price pulled back, right? Tested view up on this, which was a very clear level of separation that we needed, okay, for this one. So took my entries at 2.5, stop loss on the 2.40. And then it kind of popped up to like 2.7s. I told you guys not to chase, wait for the 2.6 pullbacks, which we got, and we hit 3.12, right? I told you guys same stop as well. And you can see the moment we lost VWAP, we lost structure, but then we started basing above this high lows over here. Okay, we started basing above this high lows over here, right? Price pulled back, retested VWAP, right? Pull back over here. A little bit of a dislocated inverse head and shoulders on this pattern as well. Not sure you guys can see it, right? You have your head over here, you have your shoulders over here, very dislocated. Yeah. So it was a great trade setup, right? Alerted on this for second re-entries for another move back up to 180, which is great. But because this being a Chinese name, I am a little bit more cautious right now for potential re-entries and whatnot. Okay, maybe in after hours or in power hour, we can definitely see a move on this, but if not, I am probably just gonna avoid this. I don't think today is the day to overtrade anyway. So it's fine. If I miss it, if I miss the move, fuck it. I've made my money on this already. I'm not gonna FOMO. Yeah, and and Aiken, guys, Aiken profits for me was huge. Because generally for me, right, I I try to trim. Okay, because I was a 20 cents raise, I'll try to trim my first trim spot at around 530 to 5, and somewhere near where we can have a 30 cents upside, right? But because this thing halted up, my first trim spot was at 6 plus. So it was huge. It was huge profits. I'm not complaining, it's good stuff over there. Yeah. All right, this is a nice downtrend breakout happening for Aiken right now. 765 remains the key low for us. We do have a descending wedge breakout. I don't really care too much at the bottom part, but this is a nice downtrend breakout. We could definitely see more action. Do remember that there is a very strong price action separation line over here at 685, where a lot of rejection happens. But I would say this is one of the better ones that are holding up. I think GNLN. Yeah, this is, you see, gotta pick the ones with the right volume, right? The ones, even though yes, it might be weak, some of them might be short-lived, right? Just remember PBM compared to the rest. PBM move a lot better. Can we see other tickers follow suit like they did with PBM? Yes, you could, but generally for me, I don't like trading sympathies. I like trading the main runner because the main runner has the most volume, and that's the one that you'll get the biggest move out of, like PBM, And sometimes the sympathies, right, may not move as well. And like what you saw with GNL is pretty much just died. So that's that. So when so many wheat stocks starts running, how do you decide which one to take? I focus on the one that has the earliest reaction to the move, which was Aiken to me. Aiken had the earliest reaction to the move. So this is gonna be the ones that everyone's gonna be focusing on, right? This is gonna be the one that has a lot of volume. ARPU has potential multi-day. No, I'm no longer in ARPU. Maybe okay, if it breaks VWAP, then I would say yes, but right now I would say this is multi-day, maybe of a VWAP replay. But right now I think it's inconclusive, very hard to say. It's very hard to say right now. I had to take a shower and got stopped out of Aiken. Good job, I threw the stop in a. If you stopped out from runners, that's fine, yeah. I always tell you guys, right? If you're green on trade, don't let it turn red. You set a stop loss, you had to take a shower, you got stopped out. That's fine. Why wait for the $5 break? The thing was a step right off the unhold. Yeah, because you see, the reason why I had to alert 5 break was because if I would say I added this at 470s, none of you guys would have been able to catch it. And then you guys would start crying that, when you alerted this thing is at $5. That's why I had to just give you guys a setup that you guys can execute. I'm pretty sure when I say, hey guys, I added this at 4, because it was very quick, right? It was very quick over here. If I say I added this at 478, you guys see it's gonna be at 5 plus. You're gonna be like, hey, but PBT, it's at 5 when you alert it. So $5 break was still a good setup for you guys to just try. To execute anyway. Any reasons why you don't trade options, even SPY calls? I have analysts that do that in the servers. You can just follow. I generally don't like so over here, right? For me, I generally do not like trading options because it's very hard to manage risk of options. You can be down 90% and then Trump says something and then your 90% contracts can be up 200%. And I just don't know how to manage my risk of that. So I only trade when I trade zero DTEs, there are always going to be Lanos. So BYND, again, we have to understand, right? The reason why this was running was because high SI place was running because of CAR. Now, CAR is having a really bad day right now, right? So, all short squeeze plays, right? When they start dropping, they drop really hard. I'm still in at 120 over here. Haven't really taken dips on this because my stop loss was 90 cents. I want to wait till like low ones to take it. But if you don't, honestly, if things start to slow down over here for BYND, I'll probably just close it off at at whatever at 1.1 for a paper cut. I probably wouldn't swing this anymore. Just only because car is breaking down. What is SI? Short interest. Yeah. I mean, I will wait till today, right? I'll give it some time to wait till today. I don't think we're just gonna like flush too hard. We probably have time. Look, this is one thing I don't like to trade anymore. Is when the chart becomes a toothbrush, right? It's where the chart becomes a toothbrush, and that's where I fucking hate this shit already. Does it not remind you guys of the toothbrush over here, guys? You know, the bristles of the toothbrush. Looks like it, right? No? Yeah, I call this the toothbrush chart. I fucking hate shit like this. This is something I will never touch. I mean, for a swing, it's fine, but if day trade, like, well, this is barcoding. That's fucking, it's a waste of time, especially with call dropping. So I'll probably just close it off today if we don't reclaim 118 in after hours. I'll probably just close it off today. What do you think about GRP and SI? I think if you are going to be focusing on SI plays, right, you have to watch out for the ticker that's running the SI names, which is CAR. So if CAR is dropping today, does it make sense for GRPN to go up? No, because shorts are definitely going to take over. Looks like you were chasing today, over trading. No, I wasn't really over trading. I wasn't chasing. I was unhappy with I was unhappy with Velo for sure, and FFAI as well. I think I should have definitely let the market settle down a little bit more. But it was good on ELPW, right? ELPW was great. So with the other names as well. ELPW was great on all around, right? Everything else was kind of okay as well. AGPU was great. AGPU was nice. It was well controlled on the first bounce over here to $14. Second trade over here after this week was amazing dips over here, by the way. This week was amazing dips. We hit 11s, which is exactly part of the plan. But after that, it was just basic scalps and whatnot. And then after that, I just stopped, right? Because to me, the market was just dead until we started getting ACON. No, this is this small caps over here is an edit. I can name it whatever I want. Yeah, this is just because I name it small caps. I have other watch this as well, right? I have this as well. I don't know what's inside, but I'll show you guys what's inside. Honestly, I'm very shocked at ELPW's price action today. I mean, it is one of the strongest ones, or in terms of momentum overall. Yeah, I think ELPW looks good. End of the day, I'm not gonna lie, it does look really good. But it's definitely not a ticker that you want to chase though, because it's Chinese at the end of the day, right? And I'm still not buying the market being hot, so I'm just gonna chill. But I'm definitely gonna watch this DOD, right? And it's only 1:56 right now. We still have 2 more hours, so anything can happen within these 2 hours over here. Toro is a shipper name. Oh shit! What the fuck? Oh, I didn't see this. Wow. Uh, it's a spin-off name. It's from Cayman Islands, I think. Let me see. I don't think there's enough volume for me to be interested in this. All right, I don't think there's enough volume for me to be interested in this. Cyprus. Yeah, nah, I'm not interested in this. I'm not fully interested in this right now. I mean, not especially when the move is already done. Okay, I mean, could definitely be interesting. I don't see a reason why this is running today as well. It's a shipper name, so maybe it's running because of the Iran-Israel war. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz stuff going on. Wait, hold on, let me see. Okay. So I think one of the reasons why this is running is because they declared a special dividend of 90 cents a share. If you are a shareholder by 4th of May. Let me read. Yes. So if by 4th of May, before 4th of May closes, if you own shares over here, you will be eligible for a dividend payout of 90 cents a share. All right. Now I know this sounds great, okay, but so they'll pay out the dividend on the 5th of June, right? Which is the dividend payment date. You just have to be a shareholder by May 4th. And then after that, you can sell your shares and you'll still be entitled the dividend payout. I think that's the reason why this is running right now, because people want to get the 90 cents dividend payout, right? If you have like 100 shares, that's like $90 of dividend for you. But you have to be a shareholder by till like 4th of May, until like 5th of May to play it safe. I think that's why. So if so, I wouldn't. Usually I don't trade bullshit stuff like this. Why didn't you cut W buy? Guys, look, remember, the reason why I cut W buy was because there was no volume. I don't like it. I mean, I give this enough time, right? But I had to cut this at 9:41. That was more than enough time for you to cut as well. Okay, if there's no volume, honestly, I might as well just wait for it. Because ELPW was stealing the Chinese volume over here, so that's what it is. Yeah, I think the cash issue is yeah, no, I wouldn't like, I don't like Toro. I think this is running up because everyone's buying into this, trying to become a shareholder over here to receive the 90 cents dividend payout. Right? I think this is some bullshit. Do you guys know what happens to the share price if they pay out dividend at 90 cents a share? The share price is gonna drop. Because the value of the company is using to pay you guys. But that's gonna happen on the 6th of June, so yeah, I'm not gonna chase it. All right, you don't have to trade everything that moves. Do you invest the same amount of money on stock? No. When my risk per share is higher, I size in smaller. When my when my risk per share is smaller, I size in higher. Right. So if I have a 20 cents per share risk trade, so for example, $2 entries, stop loss under 180. Now it's not exactly 20 cents, but just so that you guys can understand the concept, right? I would have a much bigger size as opposed to something that has a 50 cents share risk, right? I'll have a much bigger size on this over here than this over here. So this one, I'll have a smaller size on this trade, right? Than this, because my loss, I have to control my losses, right? Because if I trade 1,000 shares on this, if it doesn't work out, I lose $200, right? If I trade 1,000 shares on this as well, if it doesn't work out, I'll lose $500. So it's way too erratic, right? So I want to control my losses to an amount that I can control, which is 200. So I'll size in so that I only lose 200 over here. So probably like 500 shares, right? 250, 400 shares and stuff, right over here instead. Smaller risk, higher share count, bigger risk, smaller share count. I don't like Toro again, guys. I am not a fan of Toro. I think okay, look, it can definitely still go higher. I think people are definitely gonna start stepping up this for that 90 cents dividend per share, and because of that, price is gonna step up. Sure. Okay, but I'm not a fan of buying stuff like this. So when the market's hot, I usually try to trim around 30 to 50% just to kind of de-risk a little bit. Because 50 cents, this is a little bit about psychology as well, right? If you trim 50% of a position, um, when sometimes when the ticker is choppy and it starts to fluctuate up and down, you wouldn't start getting your emotions involved because you have 50% left, which is not huge, right? But it's half. But you've also secured 50% of your profit. So that's not going to be too bad, right? You wouldn't be swayed so emotionally. right? And you can start to respect the chart better and let the setup play out. And also at the same time, you kind of secure half of your profit. So if let's say it goes all the way down to your entry price, you're still half green. If it goes all the way to the original stop loss, you're just close to break even. So then we can move on to something else. Like re-entry for Akin. I like it. I like it. I think I'm not gonna take the risk of making the mistake I did with PBM last week. So I only like it if we really get like the dips I want. If not, I'll probably just wait for this to break 685 or 765 for a trade, for a re-entry. No, I'm not gonna what time do you start trading? Because every time you send us the picks, I feel it's too late. I think I told you guys today I was gonna be on market open, right? I usually am on at 4 p because when it's 4 a.m. Eastern, it's 4 p.m. in my time. So I'm still up. I'm just watching the market so that I can kind of know what the sentiment of the market is, how to approach my mindset for the day. Yeah. So on and so forth. I don't like SRFM. There's not enough volume. I mean, look at this. Another toothbrush, guys. Right? When you start asking me about stuff like this, I will never like it because it's a toothbrush. These are not for trading. These are for brushing your teeth. This over here is for brushing your teeth over here. You apply a little bit of toothpaste here, right? Rinse it under water. And you can brush your teeth with this. What is fly Q? Fly Q, what's that? I don't know what the fuck is this. How is this? Whenever I see a ticker that has 5 letters, I tend to be very Is OTC? Nah, then, oh yeah, it's OTC, right? Nah, fuck that. No, I don't trade OTC. Yeah, I don't trade OTC. I don't trade OTC. Oh, how is this? What is this? No. All right, guys. I would say just keep eyes on Akin. All right, just keep eyes on Akin. You can see that this line over here remains a very, very strong resistance line, rejection line. So if you get a strong breakout for this, you could probably try for a trade and whatnot. But 765 is absolutely what you need. Okay. But with market conditions and stuff, I would really prefer if you can get dips. But if you don't get dips, then you need to respect this line, right? You shouldn't be adding anywhere near here because this is where rejection most likely happens, as you guys can see. Okay? Right, and maybe ELPW. But I think I'm gonna go to bed soon. I think I'm gonna go to bed soon. If anything, I'll update you guys from my phone. Because it's not like there's anything else right now. Agpu, I'll like it if we can break the VWAP over here. Right, 10-20. I think as of right now, Agpu is a trade that is great if you can take it off candlestick patterns. No, so one example, okay, a couple examples, right? So lower wicks, okay, when price drops, you see a low wick over here, you can add it and have a stop loss underneath the bottoms, right? And this price is what? 940s. You get a quick scalp of 10. Okay? And over here now, you can see another one. Price drops down, form a very, very long wick. We can add it on the next candle over here, right? And it was a nice scalp up as well. So likewise, same thing over here as well. Price go all the way down, form a lower wick. You can add it over here, have a stop loss underneath the bottom, scalp up, right? So as of right now, I would say that This ticker is so another one is this one. You see a pullback into a bullish engulfing candle. You could enter this at $9, have a stop loss on 880 for a scalp back to 940. Right, these are quick trades that I don't like to trade or alert. Right, I do take them myself sometimes because it's just really quick stuff. But I wouldn't be adding them over here. Right, if I get another pullback or something like this, you can probably scalp it. Right, but these are trades that it's very hard to alert. I can't tell you guys that looking for this 880 dips because if 880 drops all the way down and doesn't form a wick and you guys don't know, you guys are gonna get cooked. Yeah, but if you can watch for these patterns and stuff, I think it's definitely good for wicks and whatnot. All right, we're breaking out over here. All right, we're breaking over here. So that's good. Don't watch out for this candle over here. Right, this is still there. It's not disappearing. But if the candle closes above this 685 here, then you're in a tight range for this to expand further. And then hopefully this thing can go up to like 765 and whatnot. Okay, if it closes above, if it straight up just closes above 708, that's 710, that's even better. Right, but of course, it doesn't mean that every single breakout's gonna be smooth. Sometimes you get chopped, especially in this market. All right, you can see, look at this. Yeah, when we broke up from this huge rejection over here, that's where tickers are, rejecting quite a bit, right? Shorts have to cover, and sometimes we can go higher, sometimes we go back down. But you can see the price action reaction over here to this breakout is very aggressive, right? Very nice. And then we break 765 this time. Who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah. It's gonna be pretty sexy, I would say. Aiken's probably the one that actually looks the best right now. The volume and everything. If this thing starts running after hours tomorrow or later on, maybe we could see a nice little push on the market tomorrow. Hopefully, it starts heating up the markets. I think it's still hard unless the SI name completely dies off. Nah, fuck that. Okay, all right. So just manage your risk over here. If you guys want to take this trade right now, just have your stops underneath 680, 690. Oh shit! What the yo, look at that. It's halted up. It's halted up, it's halted up, it's halted up, it's halted up. Right, you guys can see, the breakout is very important. And then boom, 780. All right, and now if the candle closes above 765, probably gonna see new highs, and then 830 plus, probably gonna see you guys more. Okay, all right. Yeah. So I'm still in Sidu. Okay, I'm probably gonna close it off soon, right? I think we got a very nice move from initial entries and whatnot, but we are in a pretty good position on this still, so I'm not too worried about this, because I'm in at 290s, right? So I'm not too worried about this right now, even though there's nothing. We'll let it do its own thing. Okay. All right. Any of you guys took the 680 breakout on this Acorn over here? You guys say you guys want to see commentary, right? You guys can see exactly what's happening right now. Why levels are important. It's nothing. It's not random and whatnot. Yeah. Fuck, wait. I'm still have my shares over here, so I'm not really adding this, right? But anyone of you guys took the 680, 690, 685? This basically the breakout of this line. Anyone of you guys took it? Yes, no? Body. Body. You were about to slap it? A little too late, buddy. Go over here. Just slap it over here or over here because the breakout was super strong. How far back? What do you mean? No. Smano. When the breakout happens, right? You're supposed to be adding either on this candle because this is a very strong breakout. Okay, it's not gonna lose 685 in the last 5 seconds. You can add it over here. Or you add the next one. There was more than enough. There was more than a minute. Smano. That was more than a minute over here. Okay, all right. Let's see some fireworks. Right, 8:30 plus is gonna be next, and then blah blah blah. Oh yeah, we got a nice move to 7 12.65. I want 12.90s over here. Let's see, 7.65. Okay, I mean you can try for the 7.65 breakout if you want. Okay, but then this is halted, right? So now look, two different things, right? If oh yeah, so 7.65 was the first one. No, look, when I gave you guys the structure over here, right? 7.65 was the first breakout play. Yes, it is. Because this is the daily level. Okay, but it started to form an intraday line at 690. So you could take the breakout of that instead as well. Because this, I wouldn't have known this was gonna happen until it played out, right? Because I only have info to this just now. How would I have known 690? 690 isn't a daily level, it's an intraday rejection. You can see, right? You guys can see. Okay, you can try the 7.65 breakout as well, right? Depending on how high it opens up. So sometimes if let's say the halt opens below 7.65, then it's not an entry point. Yeah, remember the candle has to open above 7.65. And it's gonna be quick. Yeah, I think sometimes the price may be quick and stuff. So just make sure you guys are sizing it accordingly, right? And managing it yourself. $8 on the open for now, might change. Remember, usually when you play off unhalts and whatnot, it's going to be very volatile, right? Sometimes it can go higher, sometimes it can go lower. But as long as you respect the levels, just let it play itself out. Okay. All right. These are trades that like, I can give you guys a plan, but then because I have to manage my own trades myself, I can't tell you guys how I trim over here. By the time you guys see it, maybe it might even halt down, so on and so forth. You see how quick this stuff is. Hopefully it holds, because there's a chance that it can also halt down, but it does look really strong. There we go. You can see it's very quick. You guys got the low 8s just now, 880s right now for a scalp. This is not even a couple of minutes, right? It's a couple of seconds. 830 is the next breakout, is the next key level that this needs to hold. It doesn't mean that it's a breakout trade, but it holds above this. Maybe you could see 9 to 10 over here. Obviously, it's going to be a huge psychological level for that. But always remember that price can always do halt down as well. Right? But if you respect the levels and whatnot, so now if let's say you took the breakout play, if you're in earlier, right, you want to see the price base above 830 for the most A plus continuation. Because that is what no, that's the breakout point, right? You don't want to see the price chop around that. You want to see it base on it and make new highs. Okay, if it chops around this, then it might be a little bit shaky. Okay. All right. So I hope you guys caught a bit of that snapshot right there. There we go. 9 plus. Lock your profits accordingly, guys. And hopefully this thing heats up the market. Stop loss for the 765 breakout should be 765. Or whenever you keep yourself green and stuff. Okay. All right. If not, I'll see you guys around. Remember, guys, this Acorn is a live example of telling you guys that no matter how slow the market is, you never know. They can always just flip the switch, right? So saying stuff like the market is slow, I don't want to trade should never happen. Okay, consistency is key. We let the market do the work. You stay consistent, the market will reward you in time or whatever. All right. Wait, hold on. I'm giving you guys some more levels over here first. It's basing on the 830 level very nicely, but doesn't really look very strong. Well, I mean, 910 is next big level, right? 910 is next big level over here. You guys can see that 905, and then you have all the way to the daily price action separation level at 1010. I think these are very big levels to clear, and if we can actually clear that, well, you can see, right? This is the first rejection point, and once you can actually clear 1010, I think it's over for shorts, man. But that's a very, very big level, psychological level and stuff. Right, price right now is basing at this 830, which is great, but we want to see this break 910 as well, and based on it now. Right, so staircase type of thing. Shit, show you guys what I'm talking about. Yeah, you see the 830 was a key level, isn't it? Right, you can see how price is basing at the 830 right now, which is good to see. But you want to break the 910 as well, because that is one of the daily hard rejection points over here. Yeah. And the next one is going to have the daily price action separation level at 1010, which is going to be huge. Right? If not, this is just stuck between this zone over here until it breaks down and breaks out. See, do you guys see? Do you guys see the 830? Do you guys see how well it's holding on to it? You guys see that? Right? So this is what we want to see, if we're long on this, right? If we're long on this, we want to see more, we want to see the price, right? Base above the most recent resistance turn support. That is the best. I'm not saying that if it goes below means it can't go higher, but this is like the best, right? Because it's the closest, right? This is where we can see it move ASAP. Because if it breaks down, then we have to wait for it to form a new setup again, so on and so forth. But then again, this 910 over here is a big, big level. Okay, this 910 over here is a big level. Right? After that, it was 1010. Okay? Right, but this 910 over here is a big level. This is where the price hits this level and drops all the way down. And right now, this is the price that we're testing. Right? This is let me show you guys. See this dotted line over here, this yellow line? This is where the price rejected just now. See that? It's not coincidence, yeah? So if you think about it historically, on the historical price action, right, what this is over here is that basically this may be the rejection point for Acorn before it goes back down again, right? If you see it this way, because the previous time when Acorn hit that, it dropped 57%. So this may actually just be the top right now for Acorn, unless we actually break out from this. Okay, all right. If not, I think that's it. Hope you guys get some extra little trades on the 685 breakout or 765 breakout. Continue to keep your eyes, for those of you guys who added and stuff, just make sure to raise your stops accordingly. And yeah, I think this is good. All right, look, you see what I mean? You see earlier just now, I told you guys about Akpu, right? These are the type of trades where you don't buy it over here, but you wait for the wick to form, and then you add this, and then you scalp it up. I can't alert stuff like this in real time. This you have to read the candlesticks to learn about stuff like this. It's impossible. Okay, all right. Look at that. This is nice. 20 cents is not bad, but it's a surefire type of setup over here. Oh my god, we're still holding on to this. Oh, we still need to break 910. If not, doesn't matter. Do we break 910? I think candle needs to at least close in base of the 870 over here for some chance. Okay, all right. Cheers.